Yesterday, we had the opportunity to go to the White House and visit with President Barack Obama.
And we got to see a different side of the president, some personal, some political, and even had a few laughs with him. Take a look.
This is a thrill for us, and we know that you are a very busy man.
It is great to see you guys.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
So by 10 a.m., we have done a cooking segment.
Right.
We've interviewed a couple of celebrities. We had a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Michael gets his makeup done.
Yeah,
That must take a long time.
A little bit. I'm quite handsome, they say. But that's
What-
just my opinion.
What do you do by 10 a.m.?
Yeah, it depends what day, depends what's happening around the world. I'll be honest with you, though, I'm more of a night guy than a morning guy. So I tend to start my day a little bit later. I'll stay up until like 2 o'clock at night, reading briefings and doing work. Typically, the girls go to bed a little bit earlier, like around 10, 11 o'clock. So I wake up at a pretty reasonable hour, usually around 7. I'll get a workout in. Then the first thing that I have in the day is what's called the Presidential Daily Briefing. And it is basically a book full of everything that went wrong in the world so that I know what I'm up against. And then I'll meet with my national security team. A lot of those issues tend to be sort of urgent emergency issues. I may have to make some quick decisions on that. So usually that's happened around 10, 10:30.
You forgot to mention, but I heard that between 9 and 10, you're watching our show.
You know, I always DVR that one. So that,
Yes.
For later, when you're up
For
at 2
later,
in the morning.
that's exactly right.
But in all seriousness, you seem to have the toughest job in the world. But what makes, and I'm interested in hearing your opinion on what makes a great president?
I think it's a combination of vision. You got to know where it is that you want to take the country and what core convictions and values you want to fight for. You've got to have judgment, because most of the problems that land on my desk don't have an easy answer. If there was an easy answer, somebody else would have solved it before it even got to me. So I've got a lot of 50-50, 51-49 decisions that I make every single day, and I think having good judgment is important. And then the third thing is persistence. I think you just have to understand that the way the country moves forward, the way the world moves forward, requires a lot of elbow grease and stick-to-itness, and you can't get discouraged.
You know, Hillary Clinton has described you in her book, and she talked about the acts of hunting down Osama bin Laden, and said that your acts were as crisp and as courageous as she has seen in a leader. Did you know she felt this way about you?
You know, Hillary and I, we're buddies. I think because we ran in the longest primary in history, and our staffs, I think, were doing battle politically. The perception was that this was always kind of a marriage of convenience when she came in as Secretary of State. I always admired her. As soon as she got here, she couldn't have been more effective, more loyal, and since that time, we've become really, really good friends. And I think that I don't know what she's going to decide to do, but I know that if she were to run for president, I think she'd be very effective at that. I think, I've been blessed to have some people around me like her, and Vice President Biden, and my chief of staff, who are just great, hard-working, effective people, and I love them to death.
More from our exclusive interview with President Obama when we return.
Now, this week you announced the end of the war in Afghanistan, and all the troops are going to be coming home. Now, as the son of a retired military major, I mean, I appreciate that, but a lot of the soldiers haven't been getting the treatment, veterans, that they should have gotten when they've come home. And there's been calls for resignations. And Shinseki, Mr. Shinseki, and he said he's not going to resign. Do you think that he should? And if he doesn't, would you be inclined to remove him?
Well, let me first of all say that the greatest honor I have is serving as Commander-in-Chief. The more I see our military, I was just at West Point yesterday, seeing newly commissioned officers coming out of there. And they are so dedicated, so patriotic, so smart. You see young leaders out in war theaters taking charge of and responsibility for such big decisions, life or death decisions. They've earned not just our respect, but they've earned our support when they come home. And I think this administration, I can honestly say, has, in very specific, measurable terms, done more or as much for our veterans as any administration in history. I mean, we have massively increased funding. We have put in more mental health folks to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder. We've cut the rate of veterans homelessness by 25%. We have expanded the post 9/11 GI Bill so they can go back to school. Michelle and Joe Biden are working with military families in unprecedented ways. So there's a lot we're proud of. But the VA, the Veterans Administration, for a long time has had problems with backlogs. Once they get into the healthcare system, they're really satisfied with it. The healthcare system, the VA healthcare system does a really good job. But just getting in the system is just been a problem, just like their backlogs on disability claims that we've cut in half but are still way too high. And so there's just a lot of inefficiency. And the latest news about these waiting lists and maybe some folks cooking the books is just one example of that. We are fully investigating what's happening. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to fix it. I will say, Eric Shinseki is a American hero, a wounded vet, somebody who led our troops during very difficult times, and cares about veterans more than just about anybody I know. Yeah, he's going to report back to me on what he's seen, and I'll have a serious conversation with him about whether he thinks that he is prepared and has the capacity to take on the job of fixing it, because I don't want any veteran to not be getting the kind of services that they deserve.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do. I want to push gears a little bit because we know that Sasha is become a teenager next week.
Next week will be 13.
Do you get more white hair from what you do here as the president or dealing with teenage daughters?
The truth is, first of all, on the gray hair tip, my grandfather on my mother's side was gray by the time he was 30. So even if I hadn't been president,
you're beating the odds.
I'm not sure.
You're doing well, though.
That's my point.
You're doing really well.
That's my point. I think probably this job accelerated it maybe 6 months, but now is the time. If I wanted to avoid this, I think I would have had to start dyeing it.
You ever consider
a while
dyeing
back.
it?
I have not.
Come on, you can be honest. It's just us. Nobody's going to watch this.
I'll be honest with you. I think that it would. I see Michelle in the hair salon. It's just too much work. It takes my barber 20 minutes to cut my hair.
I just want to say that it takes him longer in the hair salon than it takes me. I just want to point that out.
I didn't want to get into your business. going back to the basic premise. The girls are doing great. Yeah. They're doing great because Michelle was a great mom and is a great mom. The girls are confident, they're smart, they're funny, they work hard, but most importantly, they're respectful and they're kind. Yeah. And we worried when we were coming in here, growing up in this environment, because we're both, I was raised by a single mom. Right, Michelle's, dad's a blue-collar worker, mom's a secretary. We were worried, are they going to start having an attitude? And they have just remained respectful, kind, considerate people. They treat everybody well, and that makes us happy. And so, and the truth of the matter is that they have more freedom than maybe we might have anticipated. Yeah. So they're doing fine. Malia did have her first prom.
Oh, she did?
Yeah. So.
Did she? May we ask? Did she go with a boy to the prom, or was it a group of friends?
I think this is all classified
information.
But I think it's fair to say that the first time you see your daughter in heels is a little bit jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's beautiful.
I'm so fascinated. I'm fascinated by
could you
this.
imagine if she did go with a boy, which is classified? Could you be the boy, and do you get the limo when it pulled up to the front of the White House, and you have to walk in?
That's rough.
That's
It's got to be the scariest situation ever.
Yeah, I'm not too intimidating, I don't think.
I mean, we're terrified.
I'm scared to death over here talking about not intimidated.
Well, congratulations on 2 teenage daughters,
They're
and
doing
I
great.
have to say, having met them both, you've both done outstanding jobs with
Michelle
your
gets the
children.
credit.
Yeah.
I'm labor, she's management. I do what she tells me to do, and it works.
I feel like in a lot of ways she has taken on a very maternal role with our nation's children, and so that must make you very proud.
Yeah. Well, she just, she's a brilliant lawyer and was, a very strong professional and is as smart as can be around policy. But what drives her, what is passionate for her, are children.
More with President Obama when we return.
It's important to our life as a family, just like they are for families all across the country. The reason we're here today, though, is all across the country, parents are also having a more troubling conversation, and that's about the risks of concussions.
Earlier today, you made a big announcement at the White House that there's going to be a Safe Sports and Concussion Summit, which we're very interested in, naturally, because we have young children involved in a myriad of different sports. But most people think of it as just a football issue.
Yeah.
And it's beyond that.
It is. And this is an issue that I've got so many parents, friends who don't feel like they've got the information they need. And what we thought was we could convene a group of experts, all the major sports leagues, scientists from the NIH and Center for Disease Control, folks who have been researching this, schools, coaches, academics, just to come together so that we could focus attention on what is a big problem and a big worry for a lot of people. I love sports. I was never as good as Michael at them, but I loved them. And it helped shape my character and taught me lessons that have continued to this day about how to play on a team, how to compete, how to work hard for a goal. And so, we've encouraged Sasha and Malia to get involved in all kinds of sports. But I think we all want to make sure that the sports our kids are involved in are safe. And last year you had, or the most recent data we've got, 250,000 emergency room visits just for concussions. Now that means the ones that were bad enough that somebody finally said, okay, we got to go to the hospital. It doesn't count the folks who just went to their family doctor. It doesn't count the folks who were just kind of shaking it off, or the kid was feeling woozy and it didn't get diagnosed. So our goal here is, let's get the best information possible. Let's make sure, if you're a parent, that you know the symptoms of a concussion, that you know to ask whether or not your child's coach knows how to diagnose a concussion, whether or not there's a protocol to test on the field during a game if somebody has a concussion, and are you making sure that that child is sitting down instead of keeping on playing? And we're creating a culture that encourages kids to do that, and do they have the right safety equipment and the right technique? And so those are all issues that were discussed during this summit, and I would encourage parents who are interested in the subject to go to a website, cdc.gov/concussion, cdc.gov/concussion, where they can pull down information and know, am I doing everything I can to make sure my child is involved in sports? Because as the First Lady will tell you, we want them moving, but also that they're doing it in a safe way.
Well, we might be sitting in the Blue Room at the White House, but it wouldn't be our show without some rapid-fire questions.
Okay, let's go.
But it's tough now. We got to warn you.
These are hard-hitting.
I've just got to...
This is for all the marbles. I don't know if they told you.
Let's do it.
Okay, now, in 10 years from now, if Mrs. Obama turns to you and announces that she wants to run for office, what would your honest reaction be?
I would say, where did you take my wife because I was sure that there had been an alien body snatching going on. One thing I can promise you, Michelle will not run for office.
That won't happen.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. If you could do anything tonight unrecognized without the Secret Service, what would it be?
I'd go take a walk. I would just walk out this gate. I might walk up to the Lincoln Memorial, sit on there. Maybe I'd wander around and find myself at a little outdoor cafe or something and sit and order something and just watch people go by. The thing you miss most about being president is anonymity.
Who would be better on Dancing with the Stars, you or Mrs. Obama?
Michelle. She's a better dancer than that. I'm a good dancer for a 52-year-old man, but she is a fine dancer.
We see the pickup basketball games here at the White House, but do you suspect that they let you win?
No. And my former aide, Reggie Love, who played at Duke, and usually organizes the games for us, and there are a lot of Division I players, former players who play with us. They will tell you that they don't let me win because I trash talk so bad when I give them a whooping that it's not worth it to them. I do think that when they hit me and knock me down, they get nervous. And I had a split lip with 12 stitches in one of those games from an elbow. And I think that...
Did you get up with an attitude, or did you get up like, that's okay? Because I would have hopped up like, yo, what's up?
I got up, well, if I was built like you, that's how I would have gotten up. That's not what happened.
You want to do it like that?
No.
Your wife was on our show right after that happened,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking, was anybody fired for that?
No, it was a young man who, he just kind of swung around and whacked me. I went down, and it was kind of flapping, and the nice thing is that the doctor downstairs was ready with a needle right there and stitched it up. I'm not sure he got invited back, though. I will admit that. But I did send him a picture because one of my staff photographers was there and took a picture of it, and I framed it and I sent him a note saying, "You're the only man who ever got away with the cold cock in the president."
Wow.
Well, we want to thank you.
This has been a real honor.
It was great to talk to you.
Thank you.
It was
We
wonderful to
appreciate
see
it.
you.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so
Our
much.
pleasure.
Absolute honor.
Thank
Enjoyed
you so
it.
much.
Thank you.
Yes.